because yeah, I don't know what's going on with the other one. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the show. Living from 510, and it's Thursday, which means that we got a sports show to do, and I love it. And I love it. So, as always, I'm joined by Miles Dawkins 24/7. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Doing real good. The FIFA demo is out. I'm about to download it
Oh
because
my
I,
God!
because outside of Madden, FIFA most likely might be the only game I purchase. I seen some cool things on NBA 2K, but my time is limited, so I might only get one other game to play from time to time, and it might just have to be FIFA. So I'm about to jump in that demo. I'm excited. There was also a video by Ryan. I forgot the other numbers underneath his name, but he dropped the video talking about how Bo Jackson might be in Mutt, and yeah, and that was
Oh,
dope. That was dope because it was on I guess there's like a mobile app or whatever, and that he was on there, and I guess he was on there a little bit too early, and they took him down. But it looks like he will be in Mutt, and that's fantastic. Hopefully they can get like LT, LaDainian Thompson in there too.
oh,
Terrell
Urlacher.
Owens, you know what I mean? Erlacher, you know what I mean? And then Mutt would be, probably a year-round game mode for a lot of people, just not me.
Alrighty. Um, that's awesome, man. But your week has been good.
Yeah, man, yeah. Everything's been good, you know what I mean? Family's good, work is
Nice,
good, you know what I mean?
nice,
Videos are good, everything is good.
nice, man. My week has
So,
been awesome. I came home, I didn't know the FIFA demo was out, but I saw one of my friends playing it, and I was like, wait, hold up a sec. Is it out? So I check it out, and I launch it. I haven't played 1 second of it. All I know is that at the beginning you choose what voice you're speaking in, and there's like English dialect, and there's like UK dialect, and there's like Irish and all sorts of English dialects, and then I had to stop. I didn't have to stop. I wanted to stop for the show, man, for the love. Okay, but not gonna lie, I'm twitching because I want to play this game. So we're gonna knock this out. All right. So today we're gonna be talking about a lot of NFL, a little bit of baseball. I guess we could touch on the Brewers, the A's. Do they have a shot? Do they not have a shot? We can touch on that a little bit. And yeah, we're just gonna take it from there. Really, is that cool?
man, that's cool with me, boo-boo.
Okay, boo boo. All right, let's talk. Let's start with Ray Rice. I don't know how long we're gonna be talking about this, but
Yeah.
let's start with this. So, if you've been living under a rock, because apparently, uh, this had just blown everything out of proportion, which is strange because this happens every day in America. But whatever. So, because it's on video and everything, and TMZ picked it up, and CNN's talking about it, ESPN, freaking NBC, BBC, whatever else. They're all talking about Ray Rice and the video that got leaked by TMZ of him knocking out his now wife, then fiance, Janae Rice, I guess, whatever, we'll just call her that, Janae Robinson Rice or whatever. So it blew up, and then he got released by the Ravens, and Dawkins, you made this point yesterday that it's very possible that his career could be over. So let's start with this question: do you like the punishment?
I do like the punishment. Yes, did it come too late? Absolutely. Um, I think we're gonna see, in a short period of time, that this will be a zero tolerance policy for this. Members of Congress, I believe it was 16 women from Congress, wrote a letter to the NFL urging them to make this a zero tolerance thing. That if you get arrested for domestic violence, you are kicked out of the league. I'm on board with that because no man should ever put his hands on a woman, and these guys are in a privilege. These guys are privileged. These guys are privileged to play in a game. These guys are privileged to play a kid's game and to get paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to do so. So they should be held to the highest standard of following rules and following laws. And time after time again, these guys fail to do so for whatever reason. For whatever reason. Some things shouldn't happen, but they do. So I'm okay with the punishment. Better late than never. But I would like it just to be done. Just done. He cannot enter the league again. He cannot play in the league again. And because of this issue, because of how big it is, because of how many media outlets and the government is getting involved now, I think it would be pretty hard for a team to justify signing this guy. And on top of that, when we talk about his production on the field, his production on the field has gone down every single year since his best year back in 2011, 2012. So I don't think he will ever play again in the NFL. I would like, the NFL to just come down and say it that he's not eligible to play anymore. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, I'm okay with the punishment. I'm okay with him being cut from the team, and I'm okay with him being suspended indefinitely.
Yes, I am okay. I'm right on board with you, man. I'm okay with him being cut, suspended indefinitely. It was, sad to see. I mean, I think as we've talked about throughout the week talkings, we all know what happened in the elevator. Like, we know the aftermath. It's kind of like, you hear a lot of you. It's like, for example, you see kids playing in the playpen. They come out with paint all over themselves. You don't know that they played in paint, but you have an idea that they played in paint. It's kind of like that. So we know this is what we knew beforehand, was that somehow Janae ended up on the ground, knocked out, and Ray Rice was pulling her out of the elevator. That's all we knew. But A plus B equals C, 1 plus 1 equals 2. We kind of had an idea that there was some domestic abuse happening there. So to go back to your point, it did come too late. Like, if there is this zero tolerance policy, which, like you said, a lot of people do want, then he should have been cut from the league or suspended from the league and cut from the Ravens as soon as this happened. And if that were the case, then why isn't McDonald cut yet?
Yeah, and that's my point, is that a lot of people focus on Ray Rice. And why people focus on Ray Rice? Because there is video. And people try to brush, no, he got suspended for what he did. No, he got suspended because there's video. And now we know exactly what he did. Everybody can have an idea, or anybody can assume what he did, just like Ray McDonald. We don't know exactly what happened in Ray McDonald's incident. We know that he got arrested and is going to seek trial, go through a trial for domestic violence. He could have been in self-defense for all we know. Most likely it's not the case. But to the NFL's credit, they do the best that they can with the circumstances that are presented, meaning that they wait till the courts do their job. In this case, the courts failed. The courts failed miserably. They did. They really did. If the NFL office got this tape, then they failed miserably too. And that's just the cold reality of it. That's just the sad thing of this of this situation. So I agree with you that Ray McDonald should be cut. He should be cut. He should be suspended. I don't want him on my team, and I'm a 49er fan. I don't want him on my team. And he's going to be a tremendous asset. And if we lose him, he will be a tremendous loss. But there's some things that you just don't do. There's some things that you just don't do.
Okay. So obviously you're the biggest football fan out of the two of us. Ray McDonald is going to play this Sunday. Do you agree with that, or are you kind of sickening by it?
No, he shouldn't have played last week. He shouldn't have played last week because, again, like I said, the NFL does a good job of letting the court system let it do their due diligence, right? But in any other circumstance, in any other line of work, if you are under investigation for whatever you did, most likely you are suspended for that time. Now, you are suspended with pay. They say, why don't you go home? Like, if it's a cop, if a cop does something wrong and that cop is under investigation, then he is suspended with pay. He gets to sit home, get out of the, don't be in the line of fire, sit at home, reflect on what you did, yada, yada. When the investigation is done, then we'll have our ruling. That's what the NFL needs to start doing.
Okay.
Yes, Ray McDonald we don't know exactly what happened in that situation. We all can assume what happened in that situation. But at the end of the day, they should let the courts handle it, but he should not be playing. He should not be playing. If the courts find him innocent, well, then we'll welcome him back. But if he's guilty, which a lot of people think that he is, then he needs to be suspended right now. And then when that guilty verdict comes out, he needs to be kicked out of the league.
Why do you think he isn't getting suspended? Do you think that it's more about Jim Harbaugh saying, okay, so we need him in the lineup? Do you think that they're considering the thinking more about that? Why isn't
absolutely not? Because it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing that the NFL does. They wait for the courts to make a ruling. That's it. They wait for the courts to make a ruling, and then they decide. Because, again, Aldon Smith went through a lot. He went through a lot, and he didn't get suspended until the courts were done with this case. and then he got suspended for 9 games or whatever it is. With Jim Irsay didn't get a fine or suspended for anything until the courts were done with the case. That's what the NFL does, and the NFL needs to change that. If there's a case pending on somebody, they need to be suspended with pay until the investigation is done. And then if they are found guilty, then the NFL should step in and punish them even more if they are found guilty. That's how I look at it. So I don't think Ray McDonald is playing because Jim Harbaugh went to Balky and yada 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 was like, you know what, I need him out there, stuff like that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that the 49ers aren't going to do anything until they're forced to do something, and that's what's wrong.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the commish, Goodell. Yeah. He has a lot of heat on him right now. In the interview, he said he's not worried about his job. He's used to being under this type of heat. He's used to people looking at him this way. He's not worried about losing his job. Do you think that he'll lose his job at this point, or do you think that he's going to stay there for the long term?
I think he's going to be there for the long term, and there's a couple of factors. One, as a commissioner, he's done some good things for the NFL. Bottom line, whether you like his moves or not, he's done some good things for the NFL. The NFL is as popular as ever. It's the biggest game in this country by far. It is growing in other countries too. But at the end of the day, the mishap was wrong. This shouldn't have been a mishap. This should have been dealt with better than what it was. So he's held accountable for that because he has made himself judge and jury in a lot of cases. He's hired an investigator. And I think the investigator is going to look at law enforcement and, again, look at the Baltimore Ravens. And somehow Roger Goodell, over time, will get swept underneath the rug in this matter. And people are going to stop talking about him and his involvement in the matter. I don't like that. I like the fact that they have two owners. Who are going to be overlooking the investigation, and that's Rooney, who owns the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's Mara, who owns the New York Giants. And these guys are like third-generation family members of owning the team. You know what I mean? These are like the best owners in the whole league, and they've been in the NFL longer than Roger Goodell's been alive. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're going to be playing any games. I don't think that they care, because one thing I can say, if it wasn't for the owner of the Giants and his family, the NFL wouldn't be as big as it was, because they made it so, because they're in New York. New York is the biggest market, and they rejected having all that income coming from their market just for their team, because they were like, well, who will we play if we have all the money and all the players want to play for us? So they made it so that the NFL shares all the revenue, so the teams are even, so the teams have an even, I guess, financially set price or whatever, so they can go out and get free agents and sign players and stuff like that. If it wasn't for that move, it would be just like baseball, where everybody think that the Yankees and the Red Sox are going to go every single year because they have the deepest pockets, So that right there, made the NFL as big as it is. So I don't think that these two owners are going to be looking over the investigation or going to let Roger Goodell get away with anything if he did something wrong.
Okay. Gosh, man. I want to see him gone, but I don't think he will be. I
want to see him gone too, but exactly, I don't think he will be.
And it's kind of naive to think that he will be. Because there's so much corruption and, so many secret things here and there and in the NFL, but they happen in all sports. It happens in baseball, happens in basketball, happens in football. And if you think about what Goodell did, he did the right thing for the NFL. Yes, you can say, just in terms of and you mentioned this term the other day, protecting the shield. He did the right thing. Even if he had gotten the tape, let's say that he did, and he saw it, and everyone else saw it. If that had leaked before, then they would have to deal with all this during the minicamp, during the offseason. The hype for the NFL may have gone down a little bit, but he let's say that he saw it and he just threw it to the side. That you could argue that that's probably the best thing for the NFL.
Absolutely not. Totally disagree with you. Totally disagree with you, because now you have this happen.
But what if it had never been found?
if it would have never been found, then Roger Goodell would have to look at himself in the mirror, and that would lack integrity, and that would lack dignity, and that he would just be the biggest hypocrite. You know what I mean? And I do believe in a higher power, and that higher power will judge Roger Goodell for his actions, if that was the case. Thinking of just in these terms, if the NFL did cover it up, that's not in the best interest of the Shield. Because then you're going to have other guys that think, hey, I can get away with stuff too then. I can beat up my girl and get away with it. I can do this and get away with it. I can do this and get away with it. That's not protecting the Shield. You are supposed to hold everybody to a high standard because they are getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to play a game for half the year. That's a children's game. So protecting the Shield isn't, I mean, could you honestly say that protecting your son is by letting him not face his punishment? No, you will let your son or your daughter or a loved one take the full punishment if that's what their consequences, warranted. If their consequences warranted a stiff punishment, that's what they get, and you hope that they learn from it. Nobody learns from just getting a pass every single day. Oh, you did this? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it, little Johnny, little Timmy. Don't worry about it. It doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. If you do something wrong, you should get disciplined for that. You should get disciplined for that. And then that discipline should help you to change or to help right your error.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Goodell, let's say that Goodell stays where he is, which we both think will happen. Unfortunately, we both think this will happen, but it will. And this happens again. A McDonald's situation where there's no video evidence, but a domestic call is made and allegedly someone did this. What do you think would happen if this were to happen? Let's say week 15.
Week 15, and what happens exactly?
Okay, so a domestic violence incident happens, but there's no evidence of it. There's no video evidence. What do you think he'd do?
If there's no video evidence, but he's found convicted, then he should be gone. If I'm the commissioner, I would set immediately there would be a change to the rules where you put your hands on a female and the authorities are called, you are suspended immediately with pay. And then we let the courts handle it. And if the courts find you innocent, then you can come back. If the courts do not find you innocent and you plead guilty and you get like less jail time or you just get community service, you're still guilty. So you're going out of the league. That's what should happen. What will happen is probably the same thing until they sit down in the offseason and make a new rule. And that's what's sad. And that's what has the Congress and the government all like flustered. Because there's not enough being done right now to handle this. Because Ray McDonald should not be playing. Hardy of the Panthers should not be playing because he's appealing the court's ruling with his domestic violence thing. But because there's a tape with Ray Rice, it's the biggest news story in this country. Because there's a tape. Because before there was a tape, we all knew the end result, and we all probably knew how she got there. But we didn't see the grotesque action. We did not see, because again, and I know we got to move on to other topics, but the owner of the Ravens said that he likes Ray Rice. Ray Rice had a good track record with him. He liked him. He knows him. When Ray Rice told him what happened, Ray Rice, he was like, you know what? Okay, I can accept that. What Ray Rice told him was in line with what the authorities were telling people and stuff like that. So he was like, okay, well, let it go and see what the league does. And then he sees this tape, and he's disgusted because there's no way in hell Ray Rice told him that he spit at the mother of his child twice, and then knocked her out. There's no way in hell the grown man tells another grown man that, and he stays as an employee to that grown man. No way in hell. That's why Ozzie Newsome, shame on him, because Ozzie Newsome keeps saying, "Well, Ray Rice told me is what I saw on the tape," and that's bull crap. Because again, I had an image, and the owner even said that he had an image because hey, he likes Ray Rice, so he got to his own conclusion with what Ray Rice told him that you know what, Janae was coming after him, and he hit her with an open hand, and her head hit something. That's what knocked her out. That's wrong too. That's wrong too. Because even in self-defense, you can find another way to defend yourself. That's wrong too, but that's a lot more acceptable than what happened. If your wife is attacking you, your wife is attacking you, and you do have the right to defend yourself. But what happened in the elevator was not self-defense. That was blatant. That was blatant, aggressive. This abuse. Because again, I had it in my head that maybe, just maybe, she was attacking him. That wasn't the case. When they were walking to the elevator, you could see him spit at her. When they were in the elevator, you could see him spit again. And that's when she started walking toward him, flapping her hand in his face, and then he hit her. That is not somebody I want on my team. That is not somebody that I want in the league that I love, the league that I'm passionate for. I love this game. I don't want that person representing that game at all. That's why he should be gone. And again, going back to the authorities, it said today TMZ released something else with the security team. The security team saw what happened. The security team radioed down to the first guy that got to Ray Rice when he left the elevator. And Ray Rice was like, "Oh, she's drunk. I'm trying to help her." And the security team radioed down to him like, "Get him away from her," because they saw what happened. And then she wakes up from being unconscious and saying, "I'm the mother of your child. How could you do that?" So that right there is why, because we have all this evidence. There hasn't been too much evidence with Ray McDonald and Hardy of the Panthers. But because there's so much evidence, that's why Ray Rice has to go. And I just hope that they nip this in the bud and just say, because, again, their drug policy is a lot more stiffer than domestic violence, and that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think alcohol has to be taken into account with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But what does alcohol do to people? It does not change people. It gives them more confidence. It gives people more confidence to act silly or to be an idiot. It does not change them. Because I can meet a stupid person who is sober, and that person is more stupid when they're drunk. I can meet a funny person who is sober. When they get drunk, they're probably a little bit more funny. So to me, Ray Rice is an aggressive person on the field, off of the field, and the alcohol enhanced it. So yes, alcohol plays a part, but that's why they say drink responsibly. But how many people listen to that warning? Not too many people do. And then we have stuff like this happen, and then people want to start blaming alcohol, and that's wrong. Because alcohol didn't say drink me. Alcohol didn't say beat your wife. You made a choice to put alcohol in your body, and now this is the end result.
Yeah. Great. Very well said. This is an interesting subject because I love how many people are outraged about it. But it happens all over the place.
It does.
And I don't think anyone's talking about that. And maybe they are a little bit.
Ed Reed did. I don't mean to cut you off, but Ed Reed did. I could tell you what you said later.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, okay, big props to Ed Reed for saying that. But CNN, ESPN, BBC, all these other news networks, they're throwing these people out there, and everyone's like, "Wow, this is unacceptable. Like I've never seen anything like this." Bullshit. All right, because this is a serious problem in this country. And it's like, it's good, like, okay, I don't want to sound insensitive for Janae and all this other stuff, but it's about time that this is getting looked at. Because, yes, it's bad what happened, but now people actually see what's going on. Because I know a ton of relationships where this happens, and it's a serious problem. But go ahead. Go ahead though.
You know, I was just saying, Ray Rice. I mean, not Ray Rice. Excuse me, Ed Reed, who was a teammate of Ray Rice. He was on Inside the NFL, and they asked him flat out, like, "Have you talked to Ray and all this stuff?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "What Ray did was dead wrong, but things happen." And Boomer Esiason was also on that show. It was kind of on the wrong is wrong bottom line. And of course, Ed Reed has ties to Ray Rice. They won a Super Bowl together. They played in the league together for like 6 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So his emotions were involved. But what Ed Reed said shut Boomer Esiason up because Ed Reed said that the NFL mishandled this. NFL did it wrong. And I guess Boomer Esiason thought that Ed Reed was trying to take the attention off of Ray Rice, and that wasn't the case. He was just saying the way that the NFL did this was wrong. And Boomer Esiason steps in and he says, no, what Ray Rice was wrong. And he was like, I know, I'm not trying to defend Ray Rice. And then you could see Ed Reed like really get emotional. He was like, I seen this happen. It happened he said it happened in his house. His mom and his dad are married for 36 years, and it happened in his house.
Yeah.
So he said certain things should never happen, but sometimes they do. So, again, I think a lot of people got it twisted because some people are just going to be focused on Ray Rice. Some people are going to be focused on law enforcement. Some people are going to be focused on the NFL and Roger Goodell. And it really needs to be focused on everybody. We know what Ray Rice did.
Yeah.
Now let's figure out who mismanaged this, and let's punish them too. Ray Rice got punished, and he deserves to get punished. He does. He does. But what about the judge who let him off with a slap on the wrist? What about, Roger Goodell for giving him 2 games? What about them? So everybody needs to be held accountable. Everybody does.
Yeah, they do. All right, awesome. Let's change subject.
Yeah, man.
Go on to a little something that's brighter. We do have NFL. NFL. It's Thursday.
Thursday night football,
back,
baby.
And it's on CBS, which is different, but I like it. I guess Jim Nantz, Phil Simms. So who do you got tonight, man? Pittsburgh or Baltimore?
In this rivalry, I've always gone with the Ravens, but that was because of Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. They're not there no more. And, it's a rivalry game. The one thing that I can say, the game is in Baltimore. And because the game is in Baltimore, I'm leaning towards the Ravens. But the one thing I must say is that the Ravens, they did not look that well versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a good defense, though. But the Browns have a pretty good defense themselves, and the Steelers were still able to put up some numbers. Everybody's talking about how Ben Roethlisberger doesn't play well versus Pittsburgh. Doesn't play well versus Baltimore, but that was back when Ray Lewis and Ed Reed are playing. They're not there no more. So I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think that they're going to win. I hope that this game can just help the Ravens as a team put this Ray Rice incident behind them personally so they can just play some football. So I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Yep, I hear you. Steelers sound good. But the only thing – okay, so I was originally going to pick, like you, the Ravens. But Joe Flacco has been inconsistent, and their running game is now suspect because I'm not sure about Forsett. I know that he's probably going to get the majority of the carries today, but again, he's like a smaller running back, and we all know that Pittsburgh likes to eat up those smaller running backs. They're going to blitz a lot, and he's going to have to be very, very elusive to get by them, and I think there's probably going to be at least 3 turnovers by the Ravens in this game, either fumbles or interceptions by Joe Flacco, and I see the offense being run better by Ben Roethlisberger on Pittsburgh. So I think that I think I'm going with Pittsburgh as well. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be physical.
Going to be physical. But
a lot of hitting.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of hitting. But I think Pittsburgh at the end of the day is going to have the last laugh. All right. So let's see. We can talk baseball if you want, or we can go into every game. We can preview every game real fast.
Man, let's dive into baseball real quick and then jump back to football.
Okay. Cool. Baseball. Let's talk about baseball, man. So if you look at the standings right now, it does not look good for the Milwaukee Brewers. They did beat Miami last night, but they are struggling tremendously. Right now, it looks like they will miss the playoffs, and the teams that will make the playoffs in their spot could actually be the Miami Marlins, which is ridiculous, or and I guess Pittsburgh and um, St. Louis. Okay,
Yeah.
those teams seem like they're going in the NL wild card, and then you flip over to the AL, and you see the A's again struggling to score runs. Last
Yeah.
night they lost 1-0. 1-0. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, but they are still holding on to the wild card spot. But 1-0 losses, they're red flags.
Yes.
So you look at the teams. You look at these two teams struggling. Do you see any of these two? Do you see these two teams making the playoffs? Who do you see making the playoffs in the NL and the AL wild cards right now?
Wild card. I mean, if we can start on the AL, I think the Angels caught back up quick.
Okay.
Um,
Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I hear, I hear. Can you hear me?
Dawkins.
Can you hear me? Think you did something, dog.
Dawkins.
Yeah, bruh. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Dawkins.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? He can't hear me. I don't know what it
Can
is,
you hear
but
me?
he can't. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? Living?
Yo, Dawkins, can you hear me?
No, I can't. I mean, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Living from 510.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I heard you this
Okay.
whole time.
Sorry. My microphone's being weird. Okay, go ahead, man.
Yeah, don't worry about it. As far as the NL, I know who's not making it, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers. And I said that from the beginning. You picked the Milwaukee Brewers, and that was kind of like your fan pick. Again, the Ryan Brown situation, I didn't think that they're going to be able to overcome it, and he hasn't played well. Other players for that team have played well, but he hasn't played well. I believe you told me that he's benched. I always thought that, it was going to be three other teams from that division to get there, and I thought that, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis, were the better teams in that division, and that's kind of holding true. And then if you go to the AL, everybody's worried about the A's. They had the best record in the whole league, and they dropped, 9 wins out of the last 21 games. You know what I mean? It's not a good look at all for Oakland. Not a good look at all. Like you said, they lost last night, 1-0. You know what I mean? To the White Sox. It's bad right now. It's bad right now. But I do feel like because there's technically 2 wild card spots now, that the A's will still find a way into the playoffs. Even though that first playoff game really doesn't count, to most people's eyes, it is still technically the playoffs. So at the end of the day, I think that the A's will still get there. Milwaukee didn't have a chance coming in. They were fooling everybody the regular season, and now that's late in the year, we can all see Milwaukee's true colors.
Can't we? Can't we? Yeah. The A's will probably make it by default. I don't think that the
Yeah.
Mariners are really going to make that much of an impact anymore, which is cool, but unfortunately for them, they're going to lose out in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's cool that they're going to get there, but it's like, who really cares? Because they're not going to make any noise. The Brewers, man, like I said on my live stream yesterday, it's just effing ridiculous. Like, they just look so good, but it's just evening out at this point because you don't like you. They were the surprise team, and we all fooled ourselves into thinking that they were something that they weren't, and now it is not looking good. And as much as I want to sit here and say that as much as I want to sit here and say that, like, you know, Braun, Lucroy, Aramis Ramirez, Scooter Jeanette, and Gomez are like going to produce runs offensively, that's ridiculous because they have literally lost games they should win. Yes, you know, last night we got a big win against Miami, but the night before that, someone who has been so consistent for us through the whole year, K-Rod, blew a huge, blew it in the ninth. It was tied 3-3. I'm like, okay, we're going into extra time. Someone's been playing Madden too much. No, we're going into extra innings. And I'm like, okay, this is looking good. This is looking good. You know, we go into extra innings. We can probably win on a walk-off from Luke or something like that. Nope, he gives up 3 runs with 2 outs. He has 2 outs. He gives up 3 runs. All 3 runs, all with 2 outs. And he's never done that. He's been one of the most consistent closers. So I think that really what the problem is confidence. And if there's one thing that managers do, it's instill confidence and a solid nucleus for their teams. So I think that right now the manager has to be held responsible. You can say, yes, the players have to go out there and produce and all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, it has to fall back on the manager because, you know, when you're in a cold spell like the Brewers are, when you lose like 15 in a row and it's like bad and people aren't showing up to the games, they'd rather be out drinking at some bar than go to your game, you know, when you're giving tickets away because they're so bad, and, you know, all the promotional things that you're doing, you know, hashtag, Brewtober or whatever, you know, because you assumed that you were going to be making the playoffs. Now those are being given away to homeless shelters. It's like, it's really, really bad right now. And the manager has to take fault for it, you know? I mean, you can blame Braun, you can blame these players, but the manager has to take some type of fault. All right.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. All right, man. So what's up? What do you want to talk about now?
I guess we can preview the other games for the NFL and then get up out of here. I know you're trying to play some FIFA. I
yes.
Some more videos.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if the demo was online capable, I probably would be on it too. But I don't do FIFA offline.
I'm good. All right. So this week, obviously, Steelers-Ravens, we already both decided that we would pick Steelers. Yeah. Next one. Let's skip that one. Let's go to Dolphins and the Bills.
Dolphins and the Bills, man. Battle for first place.
Who would ever think
in the AFC East? For me, Miami looked good. Miami looked really good versus a team that I think, you know, lost the game because of their all-pro quarterback in Tom Brady. If Tom Brady plays better, if that O-line protects better, I think that Miami, you know, maybe loses the game, maybe, but they look so good on offense that I'm actually going to go with Miami in this game. Buffalo, I think that Buffalo, you know, got Chicago at maybe the perfect time. Maybe Chicago thought that they could just walk all over them. Maybe Chicago thought that, you know, or maybe Jake Cutler just came into the game a little bit too, you know, cocky a little bit. I think Chicago, they get back to running the ball, that Buffalo didn't stand a chance in that game, but they really didn't. They was too pass happy. So I actually think that Miami's the better team. I know it's at Ralph Wilson Stadium, and that stadium's going to be rocking. It's going to be rocking because they got a new owner, and they know that the team's staying in Buffalo. But I'm going to go with Miami. I'm going to go with Miami to go to Buffalo and upset them.
I'm going with the Bills, man. I really like E.J. Manuel right now, and their defense proved that they can stop. I mean, even though, and, you know, I'm taking my I know it's going to sound biased, but they were able to shut down 3 of the biggest playmakers we have in the game. And, you know, the Dolphins, on the flip side, though, was able to stop one of the best quarterbacks we have in the game, you know, and force him to fumble twice. So surprising, man. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills just because I think that EJ is going to be a difference maker in this. And, yeah. And Sammy Watkins as well. All right, so I'm going with the Bills. All right, Jaguars and Redskins, man. Who you got?
I'm going with the Skins. The Skins are going to get their first win in, like, it seems like 11 NFL weeks, 10 NFL weeks, whatever it is. I think RG3 is going to put a game together. I don't trust that defense of the Jaguars. You know what I mean? I think Deshaun Jackson could have a breakout game. I think if the Redskins dedicate to that run game with Alfred Morris, that they're going to be able to ground and pound versus that Jaguars defense. I think the Jaguars might be able to put up some numbers on that Redskins defense, but for the most part, I think the Skins are going to do enough to win the ball game. Going with the Skins.
I'm going with the Jaguars. The Skins just looked so bad, and they've continually looked so bad. And you want to say that Deshaun Jackson will have a big game against the Jaguars defense, who looked absolutely pathetic in the second half of that, and let the Philadelphia Eagles come back and embarrass them. You want to say that, and you want to say that Morris will have a big game as well. But it's just not going to happen, man, unfortunately. I'm going with the Jaguars. Jaguars, you saw a little glimpse of what they could be in the first half.
But it was all in the first quarter.
I know, but I mean, yes, but they're not going up against Tom Brady. Or no, Tom Brady. They're not going up against Nick Foles, you know? And so I'm going with the Jaguars. All right, Cowboys and Titans.
Whew, Titans coming off of a big win. I think they're going to come back to earth, though, versus the Cowboys. I think Tony Romo is going to protect the football, get the ball to his BFF, Jason Witten, get the ball to Des Bryant, and they're going to be dedicated to running the ball with DeMarco Murray. And I think the Titans come back to earth, and the Cowboys get their first win.
I'm picking the Cowboys, too, even though we'll probably see Des Bryant cry a couple times on the sidelines.
First of all, he doesn't cry. He's passionate. He's passionate.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's passionate.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys. The Titans, unfortunately, not this week. Going with the Cowboys. All right, Cardinals and Giants. What do you think, man?
Whew, going with the Cardinals. The Cardinals, they played a tough game on Monday night. You know, it was a physical game. It came down to the wire. Carson Palmer did not cost his team the game. Might be one of the reasons why his team won the game. Andre Ellington played okay, not great. They didn't even get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald until late in the game. Yes, you know what I mean? Right? And they were still able to win it. The Giants kind of are who we think they are. And unless they get the ball to Victor Cruz, and unless they find a way to keep getting the ball to Victor Cruz, I don't see them doing anything for the whole season. They ain't show us anything in preseason. I'm not trying to say the preseason is the indicator for how your team is doing. But week 1 was awful. Rogers Camardi is not Deion. Take off number 21 and don't challenge the best receiver in the game and Megatron and think again, do work. There's no pass rush there. There's no secondary there. It's really all on Eli's shoulders, and Eli is not an elite quarterback. Eli needs to protect the football a whole lot. He needs to go like 1 TD, 0 interceptions, 200 yards, get the ball to Victor Cruz all day, and then they have a chance. But I don't think that that's going to happen. Arizona's going to move to 2-0 in the season.
People have realized how to beat the Cardinals. Yes, they won against the Chargers last week, but I think that they realized that, you know, a bounce here, a bounce there, and they lose that game. You only have to guard one guy, and that's Larry Fitz. And if you do that, you will win the game. You know, Palmer isn't going to get it done. Their running game is absolutely atrocious. Their defense relies on lucky interceptions. So I'm going to go with the Giants on this one. And as much flack as even I give Eli, I think that he's going to have a big game because, like I said, the Cardinals' defense is atrocious.
No, don't do that. No, Antonio Cromartie and Patrick Peterson are the best tandem of corners in the game right now.
You attack Cromartie.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So I'm picking the Giants. All right. Patriots and what some people are calling the best defense in the game, the Minnesota Vikings. That's kind of weird. Some people are saying it. Patriots versus the Vikings. Who you got, man?
Matt Castle finally gets to take on the Patriots and take on Tom Brady, but that means absolutely nothing. I think Tom Brady gets his swag back this week. I think Adrian Peterson's going to have a big game. No, Sean Marino had a big game versus the Patriots. So I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but Bill Belichick is a defensive genius. His defense has not been the best since he lost, his star players and Harrison and Ty Law and Asante Samuel and, Willie McGinnis, but he's still a defensive genius. So I think that they're going to find a way to get one or two big plays on the defensive side of the ball, you know what I mean, and find a way to protect Tom Brady, and they're going to be fine, and Tom gets his swag back, and the Patriots get the first win of the season versus the Minnesota Vikings.
AP, one of the best running backs we have in the game.
He might go for 200.
And the Patriots, one of the worst defenses I've seen in a long time.
Wow.
I'm picking the Vikings.
The Patriots,
yeah, okay, look.
It ain't worse than the Bears defense.
Okay. The Patriots, unfortunately, Tom Brady is in a situation where he has Edelman as his number one receiver. That's not going to help. And Danny Amendola, since he left the Rams, has been a non-factor and plagued with injuries. Gronk is going to come back. Gronk will have a pretty decent game. I'm guessing 5 catches, 85 yards, possibly a touchdown in the end zone. But at the end of the day, Matt Castle will beat his former team, I think. And I really like the Vikings defense. I really do. I think they will get after the Patriots quarterback, Tom Brady, and that old line is just so bad, I just can't even describe it. So I'm going with the Vikings. I think the Vikings will go to 2-0, and I think that people will be sounding the alarms over there in New England. All right, Saints and the Browns. Who you got, man?
Saints, Browns. We're going with the Saints. Saints are gonna come in. They're gonna come into this ball game royally pissed off. Losing to arch rival the Falcons. I think that they're gonna let it go, but they're still gonna remember that, and they're gonna try and set a message versus the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns don't have any weapons offensively, really. Hoyer, is a decent quarterback. He can protect the ball. He can make some plays for you, but Drew Brees and the Saints offense will put up way more points than Brian Hoyer can account for. So I'm going with the Saints.
The Browns looked really bad in the first half, but Brian Hoyer actually looked pretty good in the late end of that game.
Yeah,
and the Saints blew it in the late part of their game. So I'm going with the Browns in the upset here. We are in the dog pound. So I'm going with the Browns. All right, Falcons and Bengals. Who you got, man?
This is a good one. This is a good matchup right here. Arguably two of the best young receivers, and Julio Jones and AJ Green, going to be going at it. I like Cincinnati's defense though, and I think that they're going to be able to make Atlanta one-dimensional, and I think that because of that they're going to be able to roll coverage to Julio Jones. I like Roddy White, but he's really not the same receiver that he once was. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati, and I think that they might win this one by 2 scores.
Man, this one's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
Falcons. I'm going with the Falcons, and it's really just a guess pick. I really have no idea.
Yeah. It's gonna be a close game.
Yeah.
I think that the Cincinnati Bengals will win by two scores, at least by 10.
Okay. Lions and the Panthers, man. Megatron versus the Panthers. Who you got? Or I guess let's say this: Megatron versus Benjamin, the future Megatron. Who you got, man?
He ain't no future Megatron, but he will be a very good receiver. But this is a tough one. But
Cam's back.
I'm going to go with the Lions. Because I don't see the Panthers being able to figure out a way to stop Megatron. I don't think anybody in the league can find a way to stop Megatron. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the Lions. Megatron's going to have a big game. I think Ndamukong Suh in that front for the Detroit Lions will do enough to contain Cam Newton. He is coming off of an injury. He did miss his first game due to an injury in his whole football career. So I think that the Lions are going to be able to do enough to win the game. So I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions too, really just because of Megatron. I want to say that Cam Newton's going to come back and will his team to victory. Now there's some kind of pressure on his shoulders, I guess, to do that. But yeah, Benjamin is Benjamin, and we still have to see a lot more from him. So So yeah, Megatron and the Lions. I think they're gonna win this. Rams and the Buccos. Who you got, man?
Um, wow, this might be the hardest one to call. I'm serious, man.
They're both
Heck
really
no.
bad teams.
Heck nah, Tampa Bay got it. There's not really needed to talk about. St. Louis doesn't have a quarterback, don't have a running game. Long is out, for at least a couple of months. So I go with Tampa Bay, and the game's in Tampa, so I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, like you said, the Rams don't really have anyone to mention that's worth mentioning. So no quarterback. So yeah, Buccaneers. All right, Seahawks and Chargers.
Seahawks.
Yeah,
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yeah, Seahawks.
Seahawks.
I mean, even though Philip Rivers is a good quarterback, I think that the Seahawks, until someone can prove they can beat them, you always got to pick the Seahawks. All right, Texans and the Raiders.
I think the Raiders get the first one of the season. I think the Raiders are going to get the first one of the season. The game is going to be in Oakland. Houston still has playmakers. They do. It's just I feel like the Raiders will find a way to win this game. I think Derek Carr might have a big game. I don't like the secondary of Houston. This could be Derek Carr's coming out party. So I might be going out on a limb here, but I'm going with Oakland.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that he will have a big game against the Texans D, and their running game, I think, will have a big factor as well. The Raiders' running game. Even though J.J. Watt, Clowney's not going to be there. J.J. Watt's amazing, but J.J. Watt is amazing. I'm going with the Texans.
Is.
I'm
He is
going with the
amazing.
Texans.
He won't be enough. He won't be enough.
He will. All right, Jets and Packers. Who you got?
Jets Packers going with the Jets, man. Heck no, Packers in a blowout.
Yeah, Packers in a blowout. Chiefs and Broncos.
Broncos. I think that the Chiefs will get their offense going. I think that the Chiefs will finally give the ball to Jamal Charles. They will put handcuffs on Alex Smith and make him turn back into a game manager. Andy Reid, I'm talking to you. Just don't do anything extra if you're Kansas City. Give the ball to Jamal Charles early and often and tell Alex Smith to protect the football. Protect the football, and they have a chance, but ultimately Denver's going to win the game.
Yeah, Denver absolutely embarrassed the Colts on national television, and this is the same thing with the Seahawks. Until someone proves that they can beat them, you got to go with the Broncos. I mean, at this point, it looks like it's going to be Seahawks versus Broncos, unfortunately. All right, Eagles and the Colts. Who you got, man?
I'm going with Indy. I'm going with Indianapolis. I think they get back on track. The game is in Indianapolis. It's Monday night. I think Andrew Luck is going to do a better job protecting the football in the early going. It seems like he always gets a late start. It's like he needs 2 quarters to get going, and then he finally gets things going in the right direction. I think that changes versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We see the type of start that they had versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, or allowing the Jacksonville Jaguars to have a tremendous start in that game. So for me, I'm going to have to go with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yes, I agree. I think that the Colts need to stop imagining that Bradshaw should not start for them. It was ridiculous trying to see freaking Richardson run the ball. So if they start Bradshaw, and I think that Andrew Luck will come out pissed off, and they will blow the Eagles out of the water. Even though Nick Foles is amazing, I think that unfortunately the Colts will deal with them pretty handily and hand them their first loss. Okay, and now the Bears versus the 49ers. What you got, man?
You know how I got. I don't pick against my own team.
Yeah, me neither.
It's not the question. But the Bears, I'm going to tell you why the Bears don't stand a chance.
Okay, go ahead.
The Bears don't stand a chance, one, because it's the first regular season game in Levi Stadium.
Who
so
cares?
my team is going to be passionate. And a lot of times passion trumps logic. Another thing, the last 2 times we played the Bears, we whooped that butt. And all those games were primetime games. All those games were primetime games. Michael Crabtree, I believe, had a coming out party his rookie year versus the Bears. We all know Colin Kaepernick, what he did versus that Bears defense. The Bears defense hasn't gotten better. Conti is soft. If you think Fred Jackson can do that, just wait till what you think Carlos Hyde and Frank Gore can do to Conti. Nobody can stop Vernon Davis on that team. Lance Briggs has been over the hill. I think we can all see what a benefit Brian Urlacher was to Lance Briggs. Just went there. Peanut Tillman is a safety playing corner. Jay Cutler's going to throw us the ball about 3 or 4 times like he normally does. And we're going to walk about it with a double-digit win.
Interesting. All right. There we go. Okay, that's a quote. Okay. This is an interesting game because Colin Kaepernick is finally going to get smacked in the mouth by Lance Briggs. And I think it's funny that for some reason the 49ers assume that they have a good defense because they don't. And Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall will prove that to them. And Patrick Willis will look like a 7-time Pro Bowler that jumped out of a paddy wagon because he will not be able to catch any of the runs that Matt Forte does. And as much as I really want to get behind Vernon Davis and his beast mode and all this other stuff, I just can't. Because I would pick Bennett over Davis any day of the week. So I think that Jay Cutler is going to get it done. And I think that even though our defense may give up some points, and I'm saying this is not going to be a high-scoring game, but I think that in terms of offense, the Bears have a better offense than the 49ers. So I'm picking the Bears, obviously. Obviously the Bears here.
They do have a better offense, but they don't have a better quarterback, and they don't have a better scheme. So we'll just see on Sunday night.
We'll see on Sunday night, baby. Prime time. All right. Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Good show, man. Good show. Now we're going to end it, as we do every Thursday, with a minute to preach it. So do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I will go first, brother.
Okay, go first. Go first, brother. Lead it us. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, go
ahead. Sometimes governments, lawmakers, people of high authority change the rules to make it easier for their employees or for other people, and that is wrong. I do not understand why they need to change the drug policy for the NFL. Drugs are illegal. You need to have a special permit or a special license to even have marijuana. So why change the policy to, I guess, help these players stay on the field when they can't help themselves? That makes no sense. The one thing about the NFL is a revolving door of players, and that is fine. It is not the NBA. It does not rely on Tom Brady to put people's butts in the seats. It does not rely on Peyton Manning to do the same thing. This is the ultimate team game. So for the NFL to change their drug rules to accommodate a Wes Welker, to accommodate a Josh Gordon, to me is wrong, because wrong is wrong. And I don't want us to get into the same state that MLB got. And we saw what happened to them. We saw what happened to the fan base.
Very well said, my friend. Very well said. All right, here we go. I'm going to do my minute, then we're going to get out of here, because I want to play FIFA. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, so today is 9/11, and it was weird, seeing the images again, and it happens every single year. It's kind of like it just keeps on happening every single year. I know that we want to sit here and want to celebrate the fact that we've grown as a society and as a country and all sort of stuff, but kind of with Dawkins' point, it should have never happened in the first place, and it's great that ESPN is really highlighting the good things, like people saving other people's lives, but at the same time, like there are so many people that they're not highlighting because they weren't I don't know really where I'm going with this. I just kind of feel like it's awesome that we're over it as a country, but I think that there's a lot more there's more underlying stories that I think still need to be talked about. So
Absolutely, but everybody's focused about Ray Rice.
everyone's focused about Ray Rice. Exactly.
And if he wasn't a millionaire, nobody would care.
Nobody would care, man.
If this was in the hood, nobody would care.
It happens all the time in the hood, man. You just go there, you see people get up, beat up all the time.
Man,
All
it
right.
happens in the suburbs more than the hood. I guarantee you that.
Oh, okay. All right. That's it. Thank everyone for watching. If you are just joining us, then you missed the whole show. And what were you doing with your life? Not the right thing, apparently. We're watching the show. So we'll be back here next Thursday, 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Central Time, 3:30 Pacific Time. Next Thursday, we'll talk about the NFL. We'll preview every single game, and we'll talk about the Ray Rice situation. If there's been any escalation, maybe Ray McDonald will be suspended out of the league by that time. Who knows? But actually, that's a good question. Before we get out of here, next week, do you think, Dawkins, that McDonald will still be a 49er?
Still a 49er, yes. Suspended, I hope so.
What about Hardy?
Hardy, yeah. I think nobody's talking about him. His case is being appealed, so that case is kind of done. And that case was going, happen before they changed the rules, so nothing's going to happen to Hardy most likely. And that's a shame, too.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. But, yes, that's it. Take it easy, guys. You got anything to say before I stop the broadcast?
Peace!
Peace! Adios, amigo. Que tengan un buen noche, okay? Oh.